Hi everyone, and here's this week's MiSTer FPGA news. The beginnings of sound for the PlayStation MiSTer Core is being realized. Robert Pipe, the developer of the core, also uses a software emulator to help with the development of his MiSTer FPGA core. In his software emulator, he now has 24-channel SPU sound working. The SPU is a PlayStation sound processing unit that, as you might have guessed, handles all of the PlayStation sound processing. Again, this is not in the FPGA core yet, but Robert Pipe has mentioned that his software emulator is one-to-one compatible with the FPGA core, so developing on his software emulator actually speeds up his FPGA core development.
RoboCop.
MiSTer Core developer Hotego has released a beta core of the arcade RoboCop game to his Patreon subscribers. The game ran on Data East MEC M1 system. Bad Dudes used the same hardware, and Hotego already has created a Bad Dudes core, so he used that previous core as the basis to create the RoboCop core. Another game that also uses the same hardware is Heavy Barrel, and yes, there is also a Hotego core for that game. Hotego also just released another beta core for Konami's Super Basketball. This game was a predecessor to Double Dribble that would eventually be ported to the NES and become an instant classic for it. Please remember that this core and the RoboCop core are for Patreon members for now, so please consider supporting Hotego's Patreon. Hotego does eventually release his cores to the public for free when he feels they are in a good enough state. A new arcade core for MiSTer has been released. This one is of the arcade game Subs by Atari, and it was ported to MiSTer by Alan SWX and Jason A. It had a pretty unique cabinet where two players control submarines and battle it out with each other. The uniqueness of the cabinet was that the arcade game consisted of two monitors dedicated for each player. The monitors also had color overlays, and in the MiSTer cores, these overlays are implemented by putting a PNG file in the overlays directory. Unfortunately, in the MiSTer core, only one screen is shown, so two players on it is not possible at the moment. Maybe sometime in the future, the core will implement two players the way the two-player Game Boy Advance core does. And here are some other quick MiSTer updates. There have been fixes to several cores. Cores with fixes and improvements include the Coco 3 core, the Finalizer Super Transformation Arcade core, the Amiga Mini MIG core, the Super NES, TurboGrafx 16, and Genesis cores, and there's been other updates to the main MiSTer program. Updates that I'm excited about are even more improvements to the Shadow Mask support. So that's it for this episode. I provided links to all my sources in the description. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. And if you want to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button and its bell icon so you can get notified of future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you next time.